friends over at the Hydro Hut Garden Supply Store in Inkster. Why am I so excited about Hydro Hut? The $200 Mad Light deal. That's but you got to mention the Medical Marijuana Radio Show to get it. Check it out at HydroHutOnline.com. That's at HydroHutOnline.com.
Well, this formula is specifically to grow cannabis.
That's Ray Kogo for Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Now, everybody knows that large buds and tight buds come from genetics, and then the amount of light you use. The other part is having the correct nutrients that the plant's going to use. Mine specifically to grow cannabis, so it's going to get everything that it needs.
Ray knows what you may not. Those nutrient companies you can get in most grow shops are not cannabis specific. That means they take the stuff out of the bloom that your plant needs in bloom. You can get Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients too. It's just 2 1-gallon jugs that make over 600 gallons of nutrients, all for less than $100. See the difference for yourself.
More trichomes, bigger buds, faster growth, and for less money.
Go to CANNABISformula.com or call Ray direct at 517-375-8998. That's 517-375-8998. Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients. Hey, Steve Greene here for the Medical Marijuana Certifications at AMMP. They're the American Medical Marijuana Professionals. You'll find them just north of Utica Road on Gratiot in Roseville. Their address is 28349. Now, call-ins are welcome, but you're better off calling for an appointment. They have a toll-free number, 877-RX-420-99. That's 877-RX-420-99 for American Medical Marijuana Professionals. That's AMMP on Gratiot in Roseville.
Countdown to launch. This is the Medical Marijuana
Launch commit.
Radio Show.
Guidance is internal. Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. Power good.
The Medical Marijuana Radio Show is a production of the Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
You tuned in to that Medical Marijuana Show. 855-MMM Radio. Keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal. Hey! You tuned in to that Medical Marijuana Show. 855-MMM Radio. Keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal. Okay, Steve is the host with the co-host Denise. Starting at noon Saturdays every week. Yes, we keepin' you legal. Legislators and lawyers, doctors and divorce. The show is for the people. Michigan Medical Marijuana, no hassle. We talk about anything, any issue you can handle. Call us up and let us know what is on your mind. And make sure when you do it legal every time. Hey! Tune in to that Medical Marijuana Show. 855-MMM Radio. Keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal. Hey! You tuned in to that Medical Marijuana Show. 855-MMM Radio. Keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal.
Welcome to another Medical Marijuana Radio Show for Saturday. It's the end of May. Good Lord, we hit, it's Labor Day weekend. No, it's not. It's Memorial Day. I always confuse those two weekends, the beginning of summer and the end. I don't know why.
Well, you know, they're long weekends, and they mean we get to stop for a minute and breathe. So.
I never get a chance to breathe.
Breathe, Steve.
Not sitting at this show, you don't. No.
We're all breathing.
You know, I don't know what's going on with the website. Robert's working on the website. Usually by now we've got ourselves pulled up on the boob tube on there. You know, if you go to RadioWeedshow.com, on the front page, you'll find the video of what's going on in the studio here. And for some reason it's not there. Do you want to refresh that and see if that pops back up? I'd like to check that out. So the whole purpose of us talking to Robert before we went on the air was not to, get the website working. It was working before we went on the air. The idea was to drive people there because we got a contest we want to play later on this afternoon.
A fantastic contest.
Towards the end of the show, we'll play it, assuming that somebody gets logged in at the website. I don't know what's going on with that now. You got to, in order to play, and I can tell you right now, nobody's registered for today's contest. So if you want to go and register at RadioWeedshow.com, assuming the thing is going to function properly. Robert, what's going on with you? We'll get back to that in a minute. I don't know. It seems like that should be working right now, but I I couldn't go log in myself if I wanted to.
Well, and there's two places you can normally watch a show, Blog Talk, our Radio Weed Show, and then also our Bud TV network as well.
Yeah, but that's not, I don't want to talk about that right now, because that's not even going on right now. I mean, we just moved it over to Amazon. I'll give you the quick background on the Bud TV. We were developing it for months. It's taken us off of Radio Weed Show. We're publishing a lot of stuff over there, so if you've missed some news content and stuff over there, we apologize. We've been working on this Bud TV thing. So at BudTVNetwork.com, our show and a bunch of other shows that are live on the Internet only, well, some of them are on the air on the radio, are on this one place. But you know, that thing, it takes somebody to program it, and we're currently seeking a program director. We might have Ryan do it. I put this in Ryan's front pocket. We'll see what if he wants to take that challenge on or not.
Good guy.
But Ryan's our intern here from Specs Howard. He'll be doing the Radio Ryan News later.
Good.
The Medical Marijuana Radio Show News from Ryan a little bit later on in the program. Also today on the show, we've got Mr. McGandliss. He's one of our sponsors on the radio show. You'll hear his commercials here occasionally, a couple times an hour here on the radio. I'm sure you're familiar with the spots. Now we can get familiar with the man. Rick, you brought him with you today?
Attorney Glen McGandliss, yeah, exactly. He's got a case, a marijuana case that went through the Court of Appeals, and it's potentially going to the Supreme Court, and it would be great for him to have a chance to talk to us about that.
I'm Steve Greene, patient and caregiver, and occasional radio host. To my side, you've been listening to Denise Policella and Rick Thompson. Denise, welcome back to the show again.
Hi.
We're in, we're out, it's like a bingo card.
Oh, yeah.
Denise is also a competent attorney that handles marijuana cases.
I am.
Now, you've got a practice that does both. You do defense and business attorney.
Right. I am a business transactions attorney, so I do the corporate law, business transactions. So I specialize in starting and then counseling medical marijuana businesses. I also do commercial real estate, labor and employment. My partner, Tim McDonald, does the criminal defense, but together we're sort of like the Wonder Twins. We have lunch a couple times a week. We compare notes. We go through all the cases, and I'm very, very pleased with our partnership so far. We've been, quite, I don't want to say successful. It's difficult to say successful when you're talking about defending medical marijuana cases, but
right.
We've been very pleased with the outcome of all of our cases so far. Livingston County is quite a difficult place to practice criminal defense in regard to medical marijuana law right now. It's a little bit like
egg the door?
It's like practicing in Kentucky. It's just, I mean, the law enforcement in Livingston County is extremely aggressive, extremely conservative. They're
the kind of guys that would drive by your place and flip their lights on and flip the siren as they go by just to remind you.
Sure. Yeah, and in Livingston County, it is a little bit different than the other counties around the area. Even though it's really considered part of Metro Detroit, I think, or the metro area, it's very small.
Now those guys,
everyone knows everyone in Livingston County, and so you really do get to a point where the law enforcement is familiar with who are patients and caregivers and attorneys, and you feel very vulnerable to being targeted. So
well, those guys are, they're up on the brush. They've brushed up on all this stuff. The guys in Oakland County and Livingston County, they are not, like you heard me berate the Michigan State Police in Gaylord.
That's right, yeah.
These are not like those guys. These guys are down here for a reason because they know what they're doing.
Well, it's not even that they know what they're doing, and I'm not going to say that they don't know the law. But there are different ways to read the Medical Marijuana Act, and they are extremely conservative. They will take the Medical Marijuana Act and the case law as it exists right now and read it as conservatively as possible. And my one, most recent example...
How about they'll read it as absurdly as possible?
Well, and very conservatively. I mean, my most recent example is Coon. And, I've been slammed a little bit for saying this, but I wrote an op-ed in the Livingston County Press Argus that said, listen, if you've got a medical marijuana card and you think you can drive around this county, you're mistaken.
Didn't Targowski take you on over that?
Yeah, a little bit. This is the thing you have to understand about Livingston County. You've got a bunch of people who think they can drive around with a joint in their ashtray, get stopped, flash their card, and it's all good. They don't get it. And nobody in Livingston County is telling them. So I try very hard to educate people in Livingston County, and it's not
How
really
can people be that ignorant?
Because look, people are going off of rumor and what their neighbors hear.
Rumor are not going to keep you out of jail.
But they're not, and they need to start educating themselves. But people, even if you get on the Michigan Medical Marijuana Program website and go on the FAQs, it's extraordinarily unhelpful and ambiguous. For example, if you are a visitor to Michigan and you click on the site, it says, we honor cards from visiting states. And that's all it says.
But that's really deceptive. It's really not correct.
It's extraordinarily misleading. You have 30 days to get a new card. And we have a person from California in Livingston County who called 911 because he thought he was having a heart attack. And he was, wait for it, arrested for 3 grams of marijuana because his California card was expired. This is what we're dealing with in Livingston County. 3 grams.
California's not a reciprocal state anyway, so even if it hadn't been expired, they wouldn't have accepted it.
They were willing to talk about it, but he had been here and had established residence in Michigan, and it had been several months. And this is the problem. People are not educated. I had a woman from Commerce Township tell me, tell me she heard that you couldn't have patients anymore. I'm like, where are people getting this kind of stuff?
So we should talk about this today during the show. We'll talk about, can we talk about some of the stuff that you can get away with and the stuff that you can't get away with, or the stuff that you can do and the stuff you can't do, or?
This is the hard part.
Well, and then we've got to talk about that in relation to the bills that are, we got some Senate bills and some House bills. We want to talk about that a little bit. It's just kind of laying there in the,
And some of us went to talk to some senators this week, too, so we've got some fresh information from the Hill.
This is the hard part as I see it. We're very optimistic about where this is going and where it's been, but people need to also focus on the law as it is, and that's the difficult part for attorneys. People are very focused on where we hope it's going to be, but in the meantime, people are still getting very much arrested.
All right.
And the Coon case really didn't help.
That's just not good.
No, and I don't know how other counties are doing it, but it really told the police, and particularly in Livingston County, they took it this way. In Lapeer County and Isabella County,
they're horrible up there.
It told them, look, you do not have to, there's no impairment test that you have to give roadside anymore. I think that police were under the impression that they would be able to conduct an impairment test roadside, and now they're not doing it. They're just going straight to blood draw.
Don't you want to... And they're starting to use this thing, hey, I saw your card in your pocket there.
Well,
that's not starting. They've been doing that since 2009.
When's the last time you used? That's the next question. And then when you answer that, they're like taking you right down to the hospital.
Yeah, well...
Don't go away. We're trying to keep you out of jail. More to come on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. You want to call 810-423-2350.
Something to say?
Call now toll free. 855-MMM-Radio. The Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
If you are a carded Michigan medical marijuana patient with a need for safe access but have reservations about privacy and discretion, there is an answer. It's the Ant Farm. The Ant Farm is Metro Detroit's trusted professional mobile transfer service. Write this toll-free number down. 888-369-3320. Lab-tested, mold and pesticide-free. It's the Ant Farm's convenience you'll try, but quality standards, privacy, and friendly professionals that will bring you back. The Ant Farm comes to you. Call for discreet details right away. 888-369-3320.
If you or someone you know received a traffic ticket, has been charged with a misdemeanor, drinking and driving, criminal offense, or has had their driver's license taken away, they need an attorney. They need attorney Glen McGandliss. He's helped hundreds of people solve their legal problems over the past 16 years.
My law firm is dedicated to providing quality legal services at affordable rates.
Call us at 586-755-2900. Again, that's 586-755-2900. Call now.
The Committee for a Safer Michigan is collecting signatures to put repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults on the November ballot, and we need your help. Outlawing marijuana has not reduced its availability, made society safe, nor reduced access for minors. Marijuana prohibition has wasted limited tax dollars, put otherwise law-abiding citizens in handcuffs, eroded the public's relationship with law enforcement, and denied relief to seriously ill, injured, and dying citizens that were supposed to be protected by the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act. The Committee for a Safer Michigan is working to legalize marijuana for adults, and we need your help to put it on the ballot. Go to repealtoday.org to find out more about this historic effort. That's repealtoday.org to learn more, or call 269-548-8422 to end prohibition and sign the petition. Ending marijuana prohibition will reduce access by minors, allow law enforcement to focus on violent crime, reduce gang activity and organized crime, and create jobs by allowing a new Michigan hemp industry. Paid for with regulated funds by the Committee for a Safer Michigan, 2930 East Jefferson Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, 48207.
The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I
respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights.
I do not consent to any search or seizure.
I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys,
John Targowski and Daniel Groh. Targowski and Groh have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Groh toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Groh, 800-957-1069.
Attention! Find out how to claim your free offer from Urban Genetics at the end of this message. Start growing right. Know your strain. Get the right seeds and clones at affordable prices from the leader in genetics in Michigan. And it's Urban Genetics. Urban Genetics carries it all. Sativas, indicas, hybrids, autoflower, even rare high CBD strains or hard-to-find strains. Call now and get your free seeds by mentioning this radio ad. Some restrictions apply. Urban Genetics, 248-266-0980. Call Urban Genetics now for this one-time limited free offer. 248-266-0980.
The sun goes down, the stars come out, and all that counts is here and now. My universe will never be the same. I'm glad you came.
It's the Medical Marijuana Radio Show.
Welcome back in the studio today, live 1310 WDTW, Detroit's Progressive Talk. We've got a whole bunch of cast of characters in here. Ryan, he'll be doing the radio news here. We're trying to incorporate some medical marijuana radio show news for you. We've been looking for a news guy for a while. I was thinking about having you do the news at one point, Denise. But
what about Rick?
Hang on.
I do the news for several radio shows already.
You're a news guy.
I don't know. Have you ever read news, Rick? No.
Do you ever listen to any of the radio programs I'm on, Steve? Because I do the news for those.
We're blowing them out. Hang on. No, I do. I was trying to bait the hook. You're throwing me under the bus, Rick.
All right, hurry up. Shameless plug. Go.
Shameless plug. You want me to go?
Yeah, we should talk about the radio show.
Oh, talk about the radio show. Planet Green Trees every Thursday on Blog Talk Radio. The fact is we've got Michael Camoran as an attorney, Chad Carr from Birmingham Compassion Club, Jamie Lowell from the Michigan Association of Compassion Centers, as well as Ypsilanti's Third Coast, the first dispensary in Michigan, still running strong.
Jamie Lowell.
You're at the same time, we're on the same show?
Oh, and that's not even it. We still have Peanut Butter, right? Gersh Avery, plus we have Red Dog Mike McShane, myself.
In the same room.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a 2-hour program. That's the only way we get anything to do. That's right. With no commercials. Yeah.
What's up with that? No commercial free on the internet, I guess.
Well, Chad's looking for sponsorships, not necessarily commercial sponsorships. You just like people to help us defray the cost of the program itself without actually getting any advertising revenue from it.
Is that working for them like that?
No.
I was going to say. How's that?
Just to be honest with you.
Give us money. We're not going to talk about you.
That's right. Thanks for the donation.
We have a hard time getting money for the people we do talk about.
That's right.
Which brings me to, I was going to say Greg. It's not Greg. It's Glenn. He says, now, what? You gave me a mnemonic technique. What you going to pull them?
9-10, big fat Glenn.
9-10.
What?
No, I'm not.
So you guys are going to have to get to share a mic there. Denise and Rick are probably going to have
a comfortable body weight. Thank you very much.
So
took me a long time to build this up. I'll have you know.
Welcome to the show, Glenn.
Thank you.
Located out of Centerline, which is right in the middle of Warren.
The thriving metropolis of Centerline.
Now, what do you guys, what kind of cases are you guys getting in Centerline? Same kind of thing?
Well, I am really trying to focus my practice more towards, misdemeanors and traffic tickets. So, and I also basically do civil cases to a certain extent, and I do some appeals. But that's me personally. And I do a number of medical marijuana cases where I represent people that are charged with medical marijuana, usually try and get them out of the charges by presenting a valid and bona fide defense to the extent the facts show that.
Are you getting some big wins? Oh, wait a minute. Speaking of winning, I got to point people to the website, RadioWeedShow.com. If you want to get on the contest today, we're giving away something from Hydro Hut. It's a 600-watt light package. You got the 600-watt light, they get the bulb, the E-wing ballast, the E-wing reflector, and the magnetic ballast. Giving that away, hopefully today, if you can remember a question. We're going to ask you a question about last week's show. So if the whole idea is to listen to the show to win. Listen to win, but you got to register on the website if you want us to call it. I'll tell you right now, the deck's stacked for you. Nobody's registered. So go register. Chances are we'll find. You got to put your name and your phone number in there. I think you got to put your email address. So go register at RadioWeedShow.com right now. And during the last break, I'm going to call Bob. And he's going to give us a random, contestant out of that registry, and then we'll play the contest with you.
Hey, I was just reminded that I neglected to mention the female component of our Planet Green Trees radio program. Christine Beebe and Christiana Starr Offerman Moore both swap out weeks. They come on the program and help us out as well. It's not just an all-guy operation there.
They don't pop up on a cake or nothing, right?
Wow, that's a good idea. Even though it's radio, that would still be fun for us.
Yeah, that doesn't work for radio. They're popping out of a cake.
Oh, it works for me, big man.
I'm sure it
works for me.
All right, back to Glenn.
Why me?
What happened?
Glenn will not pop out of a cake.
He's like, I was just telling you about my practice, and we had to smarmy it up with popping out of a cake.
It's okay. I like talking about everything else just as much. That's okay.
So tell us about your appellate court case, right?
Oh, I got a couple of them that are going right now, but that will be going up, obviously, and and while they're pending, I really shouldn't comment on them right now. So, but they're just cases like everyone else. I mean, all these things involve people. Like everything involving a practice of law involves people. I mean, you deal with some people that have certain opinions, other people have other opinions, and it's about people. And if you care about people and you like it, then the practice of law is for you.
Can you generally tell us the issue that's going on appeal? Without telling us the facts or the names.
That's already been
well, I have an appellate case in which and it's unfair to my client for me to talk about it without getting their permission to talk about the case first. So I really can't comment again. You guys are picking me here. You know what I mean? Come on. Let's talk about something else.
What I'm talking about.
Let's talk about.
No,
let's talk about some good stuff.
All I'm talking about is the issues. Not the facts, not the names, just the issues as they would affect the medical marijuana.
I'll tell you what, there's some issues that would be better cases that would be great cases to come up. Like the Fiesel case was in People versus Fiesel. The Supreme Court said in dicta, which means sort of as a side issue, not really directly relevant to the case. In the Fiesel case, a gentleman was walking down the street, hammered, and on one of these 5-lane roads where there's a middle turn lane, and these other people came from the bar. And the girlfriend of the driver that was behind the girl almost hit the pedestrian in the downpour, the dark, treacherous night of the downpour, and almost hit the pedestrian in the roadway. And then the second driver came along and actually hit the pedestrian, but the driver had been drinking, and they prosecuted him for OUIL causing death, so to speak, or OWI causing death, drunk driving causing death. And he got convicted, and they kept out the fact that this guy was drunk that apparently was intoxicated walking down the roadway, and because there's a theory under the law that they shouldn't disparage people that had been killed. And, that's a bona fide, position. But anyway, the Supreme Court said in dicta that metabolites should not be, if somebody only has metabolites in their system, that shouldn't equate to being high driving with zero tolerance. Right. And so the Supreme Court has said that.
It's at 11-carboxy-THC is not a controlled substance.
That's right.
Yes.
And so right now, but still there's a zero tolerance policy in the state of Michigan, even though someone has THC. And the problem with that is that someone could use marijuana on the first day of the month and still have it in their system on the 30th day. And they can't drive, even though they'll pass all the field sobriety tests, though they're not intoxicated by the 30th day. There's no possible way.
But what Kuhn said is that there's no field sobriety test. We're not going to make one. You guys didn't make one. We're not going to fix it. You fix it.
Well, it'd be nice if they had a urine litmus test. Go pee in the little thing, and they take the little strip and see whether or not there's THC in it. If it does, it turns bright pink. If it's not, then
would be nice, but as the law stands right now, there's no impairment test. There's zero tolerance. We don't know when that happens. And so what law enforcement in Livingston County, and you can speak to Wayne or wherever, but what law enforcement's been doing around us is they skip the roadside impairment now.
That's right.
Kuhn, no roadside impairment.
That's right.
If they see any evidence at all, now we're waiting for the case where it's just a card because I don't agree with that one.
Yeah.
But to those of you who are listening who don't want to be arrested, if they see any evidence at all in their plain search of your vehicle that indicates that you were smoking marijuana and got in a car or were smoking while you were driving. So a roach clip, a bong, a joint, usable medical marijuana, a pipe, anything in the interior of your car that could be construed to be in your possession while you're driving, they are going to probably, not for sure, but probably because they don't have to do a roadside impairment test now, arrest you, impound your car, tag your license, and subject you to a blood test.
And that's certainly not the way it should be.
No,
what it should be is that if the person is impaired from anything, whether it be Tylenol 3s or from wine or from heart medication or whatever, or only if they're impaired. In other words, there should be some level of impairment. If the person can stand out on the side of the roadway and hold their foot out and count to 30 with their arms at their side, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, they're not impaired, at all.
Quite obviously, you're right. It should be different. But right now, what the Coon case said is 0 tolerance.
Right.
No marijuana, no THC in your system whatsoever. And law enforcement's sticking to that one. And I don't want people under the impression that they can flash their card and everything goes away.
No.
It's becoming more of a bullseye than it is a shield.
That's absolutely true.
And we've had example after example, unfortunately, of that. Recently, we had a poor guy stopped, no record, no priors, no nothing. He had a pipe in his car and a little bit of hash, and he was stopped. And the trick is to make it a valid stop, you know. But he squealed his tires at a stop sign, was pulled over. You know, the cops saw the pipe, and that end of story. End of story. Impounded his car, gave him 6 points in his license.
Well, there's a million paucities in the law that are currently being changed by public opinion and by opinion in general. I mean, that's one of them. If somebody's perfectly fine to drive and they took medication a while ago, even if there's some sort of resonance of it in their system, typically they would be okay to drive. I mean, I picked a jury on a case in Livonia, and I asked the jury, you know, how many people here take medications for for themselves and are able to drive on the medication. And since there were a lot of senior citizens in jury, and all the hands went up.
Right, but don't you think that you shouldn't have to get to a jury trial?
Oh, I agree. Oh, no question. It ought to be cut and dry to begin with.
That was my entire point with my op-ed, is you shouldn't have to go through all of that. If you smoked a week ago and you are no longer impaired and you are not high, and there might be something in your system, you shouldn't have to go through the expense and hassle of getting your car impounded and getting a blood draw and getting arrested
and all these things
prove that you weren't impaired.
And all these things are in transition right now. I mean, for example, what do people do with their overages from the medical marijuana that they grow? There's no specific part in the law that says what they're supposed to do.
Some people, that's a dirty word. There is no overage.
When people get a medical marijuana card, okay, they don't give you an instruction packet that comes along with the card saying, this is what locked in and closed and this is what's not. They're left to read the regulations and the statutes and say, here, you're just kind of on your own.
Which are not informative because they don't include the case law, and so people are miserably misinformed about the law.
Absolutely.
And the hardest part right now is while this is all in transition, law enforcement is taking full advantage of this money grab. They see it as profitable, and they're going to get you.
And you're exactly right. It's like the guy in the booth grabbing the money that's in the wind, because that's what the law enforcement people are doing right now, and they're doing it as fast as they can while it's available.
Any assets they can get their hands on, that's what they're taking. You bet.
I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm trying to panic people or fearmonger, but I want people to understand that they are not supposed to be driving with any, please don't drive with any kind of marijuana or marijuana paraphernalia inside the interior of your car. Just don't do it.
It should be in the trunk.
Because, you know, like I've said this a couple times, when I took driver's training, we had a cop come in, and he looked at all of us, and he said, there's 140 reasons I can pull you over. And if I don't see one of those, I'm going to make one up.
Right.
And the minute you're pulled over, anything in plain view can be reasonable suspicion, and then you're in a blood test.
But why should our law enforcement officers have to be that way? I mean, this was never what they were intended to be.
That's right.
This 140 reasons to pull you over, and I'm going to make one up if I can't find one. That's BS. I'm sorry, but I'm calling them out on that.
Why is the sky blue?
Yeah. No, I mean, look, these people were never intended to serve that function to berate our citizenry like that.
To protect and serve, not necessarily to incarcerate and hassle.
Not badger and abuse, coppers. Read the damn thing on your stupid plate. It's on your shoulder.
And again, a lot of these guys in uniform are just following what they're being instructed to by their sergeants, by their lieutenants, which in turn take their orders from the county.
Look, I want to love my police officers. We rely on them for our protection, and we rely on them for our security. They're our first responders. I want to be supportive of them, but not when they are berating us and beating us on the head like the guys at the stupid thing in Chicago with the batons.
You know, it's really funny because we're all together, all in the American society. So as good as we make this American society is as good as our country is. In other words, the sum is the total of all of its parts. So we are all part of an integral American society in every little community. Like, for example, you know, you take Pontiac, Warren, all these things, they all kind of operate on a balance. They need the police, they need the fire, they need the courts, they need the businesses, they need all of these things together to mesh in sort of a uniform fashion. And, you know...
And a happy citizenry, too.
Right. And nowadays, you know, the voters have spoken on the issue of medical marijuana for people, and that vote should really mean something. There's nothing more. I mean, we're a government of the people, by the people, for the people, and the vote is really very, very important. You know,
Lawmakers haven't passed it up. They understand what the importance of that vote was, because even the ones that are vehemently opposed to the idea are taking notice and changing position based on that fact.
My father was in World War II, and he was on the South Pacific, and then he graduated. He cherished the United States Constitution and all of the articles and amendments of the Constitution that are in the Bill of Rights. And it was very important. He wanted me to have those values as well. And then he went to University of Michigan Medical School and graduated, and he was a doctor at Pontiac General Hospital. He was chief of internal medicine. And he developed prostate cancer and became a medical marijuana patient himself.
It's funny how people,
even though it was highly illegal at the time, and he would have been in big trouble for that at the time, that's what he did to alleviate his pain, because the medications weren't assisting him. The prescription medications didn't meet that level. And nowadays, I understand that medical marijuana has been now used in Canada in a purified form as treatment, and it's prescribed treatment.
You remember the Iraqi guy, it was the Minister of Communications or whatever, when they were the first war on Saddam Hussein. Mm-hmm. When Hussein's out in the street saying, no, it's if they attack us, we're going to kill everybody. And the one guy was like, remember he was standing out, the Minister of Communications, I think he was, but he was out there, everything is fine, everything. You see the war bombs going on in the background. He's like, no, the citizens are happy. And he was just such a buffoon. Everybody's like, how can you even think that anybody believes you? See, this is
ultimate pitchman.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of how I feel about this situation.
Well,
really,
the public opinion is changing. It's changing all the way across the country on this particular issue specifically, and public opinion is changing nationwide, worldwide, and locally, and many more people are in favor of pure legalization of medical marijuana, especially in the law enforcement community. You'd be surprised at how many police officers say, "Why don't this be legalized and be done with?"
Well, they don't want to mess with it anymore. It's a pain in their butts.
Because if someone has too many plants, it should theoretically be a ticket. If someone has marijuana that's out in their car, then theoretically they should get a $500 ticket. And these are things that should be done, sort of as an administrative level, all the way across, so that these things are normalized. Just like you're saying, people know what their limits are. People know what the rules are.
Well, if you get behind the wheel and you're drinking, you know what the legal limit is for drinking. Right. And you could probably test yourself if you wanted to before you got behind the wheel, just to make sure.
And as Senator Jones reminded us, we all know our tolerance for alcohol, so that's not a problem.
And I haven't read in the paper about anybody.
Senator Jones looks pretty tolerant himself.
He said it on this show, you remember? Paul Talenda was on.
Right.
We were asking him about that, and he said, well, marijuana is different. Alcohol, everyone knows their tolerance for alcohol, so it's no big deal, I
haven't read in the paper about anybody getting stoned and then robbing a bank. I haven't read anything in the paper about anybody, getting stoned and driving off of a cliff or jumping off of a building.
Or beating up their wife.
Certainly I'm not advocating for anyone to use or not use, you know what I mean? But I'm saying that responsibility is probably one of the most important things that I think, and additionally, clarification of the laws.
How about taking it off Schedule 1? Because that's the thing that I think is that's what I was trying to relate to the Iraqi guy. This is no legitimate medical use. Schedule 1, it's the worst of worst.
Well, it's also pure fiction, isn't it?
How can you believe that?
It's also pure fiction. I mean, there's no scientific basis for that, and so we might as well write in that little green Martians can also not trespass.
Right.
Well, the Rasmussen poll this week released says 57% of Americans now favor medical legalization of marijuana throughout the United States.
Okay, we got to go to break. Ryan with the Medical Marijuana Radio News coming up next.
The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow. Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069.
If you are a carded Michigan medical marijuana patient with a need for safe access but have reservations about privacy and discretion, there is an answer. It's the Ant Farm. The Ant Farm is Metro Detroit's trusted professional mobile transfer service. Write this toll-free number down, 888-369-3320. Lab-tested, mold and pesticide-free.
It's the Ant Farm's convenience you'll try, but quality standards, privacy, and friendly professionals that will bring you back. The Ant Farm comes to you. Call for discreet details right away. 888-369-3320.
Hey, Steve Greene here to tell you about my good friends over at the Hydro Hut Garden Supply Store in Inkster. Why am I so excited about Hydro Hut? The $200 Mad Light deal. That's right. $200 gets you a 1,000-watt high-pressure sodium bulb, an E-wing reflector, and a digital ballast. That's right, a digital one. Call them today at 313-228-5544. It's Hydro Hut. It's 20% off on your first purchase, but you got to mention the Medical Marijuana Radio Show to get it. Check them out at hydrohutonline.com. That's Hydro Hut at hydrohutonline.com. Hey, Steve Greene here for the Medical Marijuana Certifications at AMMP. They're the American Medical Marijuana Professionals. You'll find them just north of Utica Road on Gratiot in Roseville. Their address is 28349. Now, call-ins are welcome, but you're better off calling for an appointment. They have a toll-free number, 877-RX-420-99. That's 877-RX-420-99 for American Medical Marijuana Professionals. That's AMMP on Gratiot in Roseville.
If you or someone you know received a traffic ticket, has been charged with a misdemeanor, drinking and driving, criminal offense, or has had their driver's license taken away, they need an attorney. They need attorney Glen McGandliss. He's helped hundreds of people solve their legal problems over the past 16 years.
My law firm is dedicated to providing quality legal services at affordable rates.
Call us at 586-755-2900. Again, that's 586-755-2900. Call now.
Attention! Find out how to claim your free offer from Urban Genetics at the end of this message. Start growing right. Know your strain. Get the right seeds and clones at affordable prices from the leader in genetics in Michigan. And it's Urban Genetics. Urban Genetics carries it all. Sativas, indicas, hybrids, autoflower, even rare high CBD strains or hard-to-find strains. Call now and get your free seeds by mentioning this radio ad. Some restrictions apply. Urban Genetics, 248-266-0980. Call Urban Genetics now for this one-time limited free offer. 248-266-0980.
The Medical Marijuana Radio Show.
Okay, we're back. Are we ready? I'm not sure if we're ready. But we are back. It's the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. We come to you every Monday through Friday. Listen to me. I've grown the show, and I didn't even grow yet. We come to you every Saturday from noon until 1 on 1310 AM WDTW, Detroit's Progressive Talk, and on RadioWeedShow.com. You can also find us on YouTube and on Ustream as well. So we've been trying to keep people up to date and informed on the news of the day. And so last week we did 3 stories from Ryan, and 2 of them are accurate. So we're hoping for more accuracy this week. Uh-oh.
I added a story.
I lost my headphones. What happened? Something went terribly dead. Oh, well.
Uh-oh.
We can hear you.
I don't know. Okay.
Just keep talking.
And your fans can hear you, and that's what's important.
Do I have a fan?
I'm sure at least one.
No, that's Rick in the background with his hands. That's not a wrong kind of fan. I do that myself. Oh, never mind. So, well, now see, now I can't hear if I'm playing the right stupid music.
Am I getting contest music? What kind of
music?
Here we
go. We're gonna do this. We'll just play it low like that. There you go.
All right. Let's see here.
Okay, we got the radio news with Ryan. Take it away, Ryan.
All right, here we go. On Tuesday, the Marijuana Policy Protection warned that more bills are coming in the state Senate. The bills would dramatically undermine Michigan's medical marijuana laws. Michiganders are urged to contact their senators. In Rhode Island, the governor has finally opened the door to compassion centers. Advocates held a 3-day unity event in Sacramento to show support for state-regulated medical marijuana industry bill. Assemblyman Tom Amino sponsored the bill and said the bill would do just that, regulate the industry. Also in Los Angeles, the branch of Normal Women's Alliance launched Voters Education Project, aimed at identifying favorable or unfavorable candidates. The group will ask candidates about medical marijuana laws, the 3-strike rule, and mandatory minimum sentencing. Thank you, Steve. That's what I've got for you this week.
It sounded all accurate. That's a good thing. Can't wait for Ryan for the news.
Thank you.
I think it's a good thing to do the news every once in a while and keep people up to date on what's moving around in the state, because there is stuff happens every week we don't give a chance to even talk about.
I thought maybe I could do, or ask you if we could go remote and do maybe some on-site news at certain points.
Oh, that would be really cool, actually. I think if we could get, what are you suggesting?
Well,
maybe go out to a hydro hut and do something.
Maybe at a hydro hut, or maybe one of the dispensaries that have supported the community, and
Well, they all support the community.
Well, and we want the community to support them also, and that's the key.
It seems like a lot of guys are running for cover these days. They're like, oh, the radio, are you sure? I don't know, is it safe on the radio? See, I can't even get people to call the show. We did this last week. I bet $1 to do a donut that nobody would call to do the contest thing. Now I'm going to have to do the same thing about the website, because I checked during the break, nobody's registered for the contest.
For the 600-watt light package? Wow!
From Hydro Hut. So let me tell you about that real quick. It's Hydro Hut's at 27332 Michigan Avenue. They're in Inkster. 31322. What is that? 8. Your 8s look like zeros.
Yes, they do.
228-5544. It's 313-228-5544 to Hydro Hut. Now, we want to thank Hydro Hut for providing this week's contest prize, assuming that we actually have a contestant to give it to.
Mm-hmm.
It is a 600-watt light package with it's the magnetic ballast, an E-wing reflector, and the bulb, which is an awesome thing.
The E-wing reflector is great because it allows you to change the angle light hits your plants.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
The thing we gave away last week was a vaporizer from Puff Danny's. It was one of those Vape Plus portable vaporizers.
Puff Danny's of Wyandotte.
A little rechargeable deal with the whip thing on it.
Nice.
And so they were super happy. And the way that you can get in on the contest is to listen to the show. We asked you a question about last week's show. Do you have a question about last week's show?
Of course I have a question about last week's show.
I am blank on the questions today. You had a great question. I had a first question last week, and then we blew that one off in practice. And then,
sort of, kind of, yeah. That was me.
And then you had a great second question. So we're going to see if we can come up with a question for the contestant, if we have one. RadioWeekShow.com. If you go to the left-hand side of the page, register now. You'll probably be the only, person we call. If you go there and register now, we'll call you and play the contest.
Steve, can I give a shout-out to the people I went to Lobby Day with this week and talked to the Senate?
Shout it out, up in the shrub.
Macomb, Oakland Compassion Club, some fantastic guys there. Dan Solano from Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, as well as just a ton of folks there. Will Brake was a driver. We had Annette Nene from Macomb Normal, Christiana Starr-Offerman Moore from Michigan Moms United Against the Drug War. Denise, I believe you're in that organization as well. We had just a ton of folks talk to 13 different senators, including the infamous Rick Jones, who is not very nice to our people, and a lot of Democrats. Very supportive. It was a great group of people, and we should all be doing Lobby Day. Everybody listening, you have the ability to talk to your senators. Do it.
I think it's really important to... the whole thing about, we talked about this last week, repealtoday.org, the reason that this petition is being circulated to repeal marijuana prohibition for people under 21, adults under 21 in Michigan, is to take the sword away from the man. So he doesn't use it as a sword anymore. It was intended as a shield for patients and caregivers. For crying out loud, stop using the sword. We're taking it away.
Half a dozen of us were on the riverfront last night collecting signatures to support the petition drive, and consistently we hear people that say, isn't it legal already?
Yes,
honestly don't know.
There's my point.
Consistently, we hear that. Every community I go to collect signatures in, there's misinformation about the law.
Yeah.
Well, and I think if we're this misinformed inside the community, we're the ones that have to exist under this umbrella.
Yep.
The guys who passed it aren't necessarily those people. So I'm saying if we're this misinformed under the umbrella, what do you think the guys that voted it in think? Oh, you guys are already protected. You're good to go.
Yep, exactly.
Exactly my point. Until this whole thing gets settled more so that it's either legal or there's more information out there. People have to be very, very conservative, and they cannot assume that they have rights that they don't have.
It's still the Wild West here in the East.
I'm still hearing that people think that marijuana use is a civil right. That one is so far down the road, it's not even a conversation yet.
People
you
still
do not
don't
have a right
that.
to use it.
Well, see, it's easy to connect the dots. Your medical. I think people could easily say that your medical. Well-being is a civil right in some way.
And yet the California Ninth Circuit federal court, which is, I think, arguably the most liberal of the federal courts, said last week, I think it was last week, in a decision that there was no carve-out in the Americans for Disabilities Act for people with disabilities who needed medical marijuana. And this is how they couched it, though. That's not quite exactly the holding.
It's what the couching. The devil's in the details.
I like the couching. What it was is that there were cities in California that wanted to prohibit or ban medical marijuana dispensaries, and a group of disabled people brought a lawsuit saying, we want medical marijuana dispensaries. We think that we have a right to have medical marijuana, and that would be that would be a reasonable accommodation. And they said, we sympathize, but it's still a controlled substance, and it's federally
back to the rescheduling.
It's federally scheduled one. And honestly, I've changed my mind over time about rescheduling it. I think it should simply be legalized, because rescheduling is simply going to put it in the hands of the pharmaceutical companies.
Rescheduling, descheduling, whatever.
No, big difference, though. If you reschedule it to 2 or 3, you're just giving it to pharmaceutical companies.
And descheduling is completely wiping it off the list completely.
And making it like alcohol or tobacco. And that will certainly reconcile the... I'm not saying we're working at cross purposes, but it's difficult sometimes when you have patient advocates and people who are trying to make a profit out of it and use it for recreation. When they all get in the same room, they're coming up with different things.
Well, from the Ninth Circuit is in California, Arizona, those southwest states right along the border, and I was really surprised by that decision, no less, because you would think that they would want legalization, because if marijuana is very inexpensive in California and Arizona, these places, they're not going to have people trying to smuggle it illegally from Mexico, which is a huge problem on that side of the country.
It was a conservative
bloodbath over there. It's a bloodbath over there.
Bloodbath and all those things that are going on over there. So if marijuana were like 30 cents for 5,000 pounds of it, on theoretically, hypothetically, then and there wouldn't be any illegal importation from Mexico, and that drug border problem probably would go away. So I was a little bit surprised by that decision out of the Ninth Circuit, considering the problems that they're always touting from California and Arizona, the border states over there.
And it's disheartening as well, because it is, most of the law in this country goes from west to east. So most of what we see in California ends up making its way this way. So hopefully that's not the case.
What we're looking at here in Michigan is that the real arbiters, the bellwethers of proper information are the certification centers. You got the MMPID Center, Perry Winfrey in Royal Oak, the R.C. Randall Memorial Wellness Center in Lansing with Becca Hollinsworth. These are places where when you get certified, you get information about what you should and shouldn't do. If a doctor is giving you certification and just pushing you out the door and saying, hey, I can't tell you about that, then you're probably not being serviced very well by your certification.
Here's what I've always said as a measure, a litmus test for the doctor that's doing your certification. If you go in and you pay the guy whatever his fee is to do your certification or recertification, whatever it is, and he's not willing to come and testify for you in court if there's a question about your doctor-patient relationship, it's not worth the salt it's written with. You need to start over again. We've got to go to break. We'll be right back on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. Stand by.
Next, 818-423-2350. Be right back after this on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. The Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
Well, this formula is specifically to grow cannabis.
That's Ray Kogo for Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Now, everybody knows that large buds and tight buds come from genetics, and then the amount of light you use. The other part is having the correct nutrients that the plant's going to use. Mine specifically to grow cannabis, so it's going to get everything that it needs.
Ray knows what you may not. Those nutrient companies you can get in most grow shops are not cannabis specific. That means they take the stuff out of the bloom that your plant needs in bloom. You can get Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients too. It's just 2 1-gallon jugs that make over 600 gallons of nutrients, all for less than $100. See the difference for yourself.
More trichomes, bigger buds, faster growth, and for less money.
Go to CANNABISformula.com or call Ray direct at 517-375-8998. That's 517-375-8998. Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Hey, Steve Greene here to tell you about my good friends over at the Hydro Hut Garden Supply Store in Inkster. Why am I so excited about Hydro Hut? The $200 Mad Light deal. That's right. $200 gets you a 1,000-watt high-pressure sodium bulb, an E-wing reflector, and a digital ballast. That's right, a digital one. Call them today at 313-228-5544. It's Hydro Hut. It's 20% off on your first purchase, but you got to mention the Medical Marijuana Radio Show to get it. Check them out at hydrohutonline.com. That's Hydro Hut at hydrohutonline.com.
If you are a carded Michigan medical marijuana patient with a need for safe access but have reservations about privacy and discretion, there is an answer. It's the Ant Farm. The Ant Farm is Metro Detroit's trusted professional mobile transfer service. Write this toll-free number down, 888-369-3320. Lab-tested, mold and pesticide-free. It's the Ant Farm's convenience you'll try, but quality standards, privacy, and friendly professionals that will bring you back. The Ant Farm comes to you. Call for discreet details right away. 888-369-3320.
Medical marijuana certification. And now you can find out everything you need to know online at getpotid.com. Or write down this toll-free number, 855-DOC-CERT. A friendly specialist will direct you to our Farmington Hills office. Medical marijuana certification. GetPotID.com. It's the key to getting your card. Information, resources, and in the end, if you're qualified, a medical card. Call toll-free right now, 855-DOC-CERT. That's 855-DOC-CERT. It's GetPotID.com. The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow. Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069.
The Committee for a Safer Michigan is collecting signatures to put repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults on the November ballot, and we need your help. Outlawing marijuana has not reduced its availability, made society safe, nor reduced access for minors. Marijuana prohibition has wasted limited tax dollars, put otherwise law-abiding citizens in handcuffs, eroded the public's relationship with law enforcement, and denied relief to seriously ill, injured, and dying citizens that were supposed to be protected by the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act. The Committee for a Safer Michigan is working to legalize marijuana for adults, and we need your help to put it on the ballot. Go to repealtoday.org to find out more about this historic effort. That's repealtoday.org to learn more, or call 269-548-8422 to end prohibition and sign the petition. Ending marijuana prohibition will reduce access by minors, allow law enforcement to focus on violent crime, reduce gang activity and organized crime, and create jobs by allowing a new Michigan hemp industry. Paid for with regulated funds by the Committee for a Safer Michigan, 2930 East Jefferson Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, 48207.
The Medical Marijuana Radio Show.
Okay, so we're back. We're back. And we're trying to do the contest. So last week this worked out pretty well. This week, not so well. We're driving people to the website, getting registered on the website. I can't get anybody to go to the website.
It is Memorial Day weekend, so...
Well, you know, you can do this on your phone for crying out loud.
Just saying. I mean, we do have to cut people a little slack. It is Memorial Day weekend.
Slack? What's that?
Yeah.
I ask for slack all the time. I don't always get slack.
People are sleeping in. They're tuning out. They're at the beach hoping it clears up.
Rather give them slap than slack.
No, I get flack. That's what I get.
The Tigers are starting in like 10 minutes, right? Isn't it a 1 o'clock game today? Did anyone see the game last night?
I did not.
Yay, we hit. We started batting. It was fantastic.
You know what I was doing last night? I was watching a movie. I went and saw. I wanted to go see the Men in Black in 3D.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't get there in time. And then there was 2 other movies to pick from because that one wasn't playing again last night. I ended up watching. Wanted to see Avengers. Didn't end up
The
seeing
Avengers
that.
was fantastic.
I did Battleship.
Oh, I was going to save you $8.50 until you're not to bother.
I love that movie. I thought it was a great movie. You didn't like it?
Did you really?
Oh, Steve.
I liked it.
It was a good, like my 8.5-year-old thought it was the best movie ever. And if I was 8.5, I would have agreed with him. So
I don't know. I liked it. You know who talked me to do it? Bob talked me. I invited Bob to go watch the movie last night. He's like, no, I'm going to sit home and drink. I'm like, okay, well, then I'm going to go to the movie. So I went to the movie by myself. I hung out by myself, and I ended up,
Now, the Avengers. You haven't seen the Avengers?
I've not either.
Oh, the Avengers is so
My
good.
kids tell me it's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
My
We saw it
kids loved
opening
it.
weekend, and there was a line all the way out the theater. And they deserve it.
Driving people to the phone. So 810-423-2350 or 248-848-1310 if you want to play our contest. 810-423-2350 or 248-848-1310. There is a prize. It's from Hydro Hut. It's the 600-watt lights package. We're going to ask you a question about last week's show. If you think you might know something about last week's show, then we'll toss you in the thing. Hey, if you don't call, we don't give it away. We save it for next week. Hydro Hut gets another plug.
That's right.
By the way, Hydro Hut, they've got that the same package in the 1,000-watt arena. $200, $200 out the door, and you get a 20% discount if you mention the Medical Marijuana Radio Show.
Now, how much is that price? How does it compare to the ones you can get at the police auctions?
Don't say that.
Come on!
Profiting off the pain of our brothers. No.
Oh, man.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Wow. That's a low for the show right there.
I am sorry I couldn't help it. I'll take out just a lot of it.
Great Wheel of Fortune sound effect. Nice. Excellent.
They got little blood on them, but they're still good.
Little blood on them, but they're still good. Nice, Glenn. That's it. The tears of the children. Yes, they're still
well,
steam.
as long as we're talking about police, can I give one more helpful hint to those of you listening today?
A helpful hint from up in the shrub.
No guns.
No guns.
No guns.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can't have a gun.
You want me to cover my arms up? Is that what you're saying?
Can I give you hypothetically what I'm telling you right now is that if you have a gun anywhere in your personal or constructive possession and you are arrested,
get ready for a felony charge.
In the possession of marijuana, even if you're not convicted of the marijuana charge, they will or probably will include a felony gun charge.
Even if you have a CCW,
even if it's registered.
Remember, Glenn is a microphone.
Even if you have a CPL permit, if you have a gun with marijuana, that's it.
And I don't mean just with marijuana. I mean, if you're in Traverse City and your gun is in Detroit locked in your safe and you have the key to your safe on you,
that's constructive possession.
There are Michigan Supreme Court jury instructions that call that constructive possession. Get rid of your guns.
That's pretty extreme, Denise. I got to tell you, that's not functionally advice I would give any patient ever.
Being prosecuted right now in Oakland County.
I agree with Denise. I'm sorry, I tell you, I agree with Denise.
I got to tell you, that gets into the hysteria, the fear hysteria right there.
Read the Michigan jury instructions. Read the Michigan Supreme Court jury instructions, and they're doing it right now in Oakland County. And I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm trying to tell people to avoid felony gun charges.
And that's my thing. I mean, I don't want to I'm not trying to test those. If you're asking me, I'm staying away from the gun. I've got a little weed around. I'm staying away from the gun. The weed thing. You don't have to stand wait. The weed thing I know how to defend. The gun thing is a whole different kettle of fish to me.
What I'm saying is, until this gets figured out, don't put yourself in that position.
That's all I'm saying.
But if you're going to physically half a state away, Denise, I think that's a little extreme of an example.
No, she's saying jury instructions from the Supreme Court are saying that this is how it's got to go. This is what the jury gets.
Jury instructions. And it's being prosecuted right now in Oakland County, so we'll see how it goes.
Yep.
I just think
the fact of the matter is not whether we win or lose. It's being prosecuted, and that's my concern, is that people need to be very aware of the fact that this is happening.
We can't hear you, Ryan. You got to be on the mic, Ryan.
People really don't know. I know a lot of people in the medical community that hunt and they have guns, and they really didn't know the information you just gave them. So it's important to inform.
Look, I'll just give you a quick example. Haas, the guy that does the T-shirts for us, he made this shirt right here. Do you see it on camera? Haas used to be a bounty hunter. He goes after the guys that cops do not go after. The feds, the ATF sent him a thing saying, give up your guns. We see you got a card. He did. He went down and turned his guns in. He's no longer a bounty hunter. He's like, I'm not dog. I don't hunt with the pepper spray and stuff. He's like, I've been shot 8 times.
Oh, good gosh.
So this is a guy that they've taken the guns away from because he's a medical marijuana patient. It's absolutely crazy. Glenn, thanks for being in studio.
You're welcome.
You got a number real quick? Give a number.
586-755-2900, just like on the commercial.
We'll see you next time on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. Thanks.
The comments, ideas, and opinions expressed in the preceding program are those of the show participants only. Nothing stated in this program reflects the ideas, opinions, or beliefs of this radio station and or
This is Detroit's
Radio.
Progressive Talk, 1310 WDTW, Dearborn, Detroit. Listen 24 hours a day on iHeartRadio.
Seducing teen girls online is easy. A lot of them feel so lonely and misunderstood. I don't even need to lie about my age. They're just glad they're talking to
Someone older I can trust. They're more mature than the guys at my school and understand me better than other
teen girls are very trusting.